Hello, I'm Jim Morningstar, Director of Transformations and your guide through this 8-session advanced practicum and apprenticeship in community building. The focus of this 6th class is identifying and handling unconscious communication patterns that naturally arise in a growing community. Teaching responsible communication and potential conflict resolution with your outer and inner communities. Let's look at 4 common indirect and ineffective communication styles of responding when someone else's discomfort or dissatisfaction is directed at you. And then we'll present an alternative, open method of responding. Communication styles dealing with uncomfortable feelings directed at you. Again, I will role play dealing with an example of someone saying to me at this point, Jim, I'm irritated. I don't think anything you've presented so far is really relevant to my life. Response style number 1. Oh, I certainly could have done a better job at making these risky rascals more specific to the circumstances of your life. Perhaps if I knew a bit more about your interests and work, I could come up with better examples that would make more sense to you. It's really hard to know what's going to be relevant to everyone, but thank you so much for voicing your concern. And I'm sure this will make more and more sense to you as we move forward. So this style is called placating or making nice, but not really addressing the feelings or issues. Response style number 2. Jim, I'm irritated. I don't think anything you have presented so far is really relevant to my life. Relevancy is a relative term. In many social science studies, it has been observed that relevancy relates to 4 major factors in the average person's life. First is their family values, which subconsciously direct them to certain stimuli in their environment and not to others. The second is their life experiences, which, if traumatic, greatly influences what triggers emotional reactions for them. The third is genetic, which predisposes them to certain stressors in the world around them and consequently drives them to avoid certain topics and be attracted to others. The fourth factor influencing relevancy is a person's current mood states. So, if, for example, your wife just left you because you're too boring, like mine just did, then your interest may wane when presented with such intellectually stimulating material as being presented in this class. I'll be glad to refer you to a monograph I've written on this topic. Oh, so this style is called intellectualizing for obvious reasons and keeps one in their head away from dealing with emotions directed at them. Response style number 3. Jim, I'm irritated. I don't think anything you've presented so far is really relevant to my life. Well, perhaps if you had an iota of emotional intelligence and honest self-reflection, you'd probably be aware that your total lack of insight and your own inept means of communication, and get that this is a matter of relevance to anyone beyond a gnat's level of self-awareness. I recommend you get an extended course in psychotherapy and come back when you've entered the human race. So this response style is called blaming, putting the fault for any discomfort on the person voicing it. Response style number 4. Jim, I'm irritated. I don't think anything you've presented so far is really relevant to my life. Say, I'd bet you'd find the new television series on the evolution of dinosaurs quite fascinating. I watched it last night and was enthralled by the diversity of creatures that roam the earth we've never heard of. I know you have children in your life, and it's a great bonding topic for the whole family. I'd be more than happy to get you a reference to this series right after class. So this response style is called irrelevant because it distracts from the emotional charge in an attempt to avoid it. The final response style is called open because it addresses the emotional charge respectfully, puts the parties on an equal level by divulging one's own feelings, and cuts to the chase by looking for what will really satisfy both parties. Jim, I'm irritated. I don't think anything you've presented so far is really relevant to my life. Okay, I hear you say that you're feeling irritated. I'm feeling somewhat defensive and scared. What I want is to understand what would be more relevant to your life so I can be potentially helpful to you. What I'm willing to do about this is to listen to see if I can have something to offer that's valuable to you or refer you after the class to an appropriate source if I cannot. So, there are 4 elements to this style of communication. First, acknowledging the feelings being directed at you. In the example I was using, the person named their feelings of irritation. But if they did not name them and just spoke in an angry tone, Jim, I don't think anything you've presented so far is really relevant to my life. Then I would report the feelings that came across to me. You seem angry to me. I'm telling them about myself rather than telling them what they are, for like saying, you're angry. You obviously think I don't know what I'm talking about. When you attempt to tell a person what they're thinking or feeling, you're invading their mind with your interpretation, which is a surefire invitation to fight. Oh, I'm not angry. I'm just telling you that your examples do not apply to me. Most arguments go on endlessly because the real fuel that keeps them going is the unexpressed emotion that one or both parties do not identify on their own. What ensues is a who's right argument that has no winner. Secondly, I communicate my feelings which put us on an equal emotional footing. If I just said, you seem angry to me, I want to understand you more, that could come off as very condescending. It could be heard as, you are the emotional one and I'm the rational one just trying to figure you out. I admit to my emotions and create an equality between us. Now, even if both parties admitted their anger, for example, they may still go on endlessly if they don't identify what it is they want. They make assumptions about what the other person wants, like making me look bad, getting even for past hurts, or giving them the answers to their life, etc. In other words, all are unconscious projections. That's why I go right to the point of what I want without building a case for it with justifications or accusations like, I'm angry because you always misunderstand my good intentions, or I never get respect for my hard work. Skip justifying your feelings. Just state them and go to what you really want, not why you're right and deserve it. All this is my mental and emotional clutter, which has bogged down effective communication. Finally, take your part in responsibility for getting what you want in stating what you're willing to do about it. If I just said, I want to understand what would be more relevant to your life so I can potentially be helpful to you, and left it there, it would look like I'm putting the responsibility for getting what I want on them. By saying what I'm willing to do, and in some cases what I'm not willing to do, I impute an equal partnership in common to a resolution. So, in my example, I say, I'm willing to listen to you and see if I have something to offer that's valuable to you, or to refer you after class to an appropriate source if I cannot. In other words, I'm willing to hear from you what you want right now, but if it comes to referring you elsewhere, I'll do that after class, not now. Now, this may seem very formal or complicated, but once you get the principles behind each of the 4 steps, emotional acknowledgement, emotional self-disclosure, directness and desired results, and mutuality and solution finding, they will come in your own words and order and help you be understood and understand others much more quickly and effectively if done with openness and compassion. Now, you can have openness and compassion, but without clarity, it can take endless hours to get resolution. If both parties operate from the same model, you may go back and forth several times, saying what you heard the other say they are feeling and wanting, because it will often change in the course of the interchange and work towards what is agreeable to both parties. But even if you're the only one using this model, it can still help greatly in working towards resolution if you stick with the principles. Take handout 2, Communication Styles and Communication Clearing Exercises, and in section 1, Communication Styles, A, identify which of the 4 ineffective styles you are most prone to use or most frequently used in the past: placating, intellectualizing, blaming, or irrelevant. And 1B, the ineffective communication styles you are least prone to use or have least used in the past. Then, in section 2, Communication Clearing Exercise, complete an imaginary conversation or replay of a conversation you've had with someone with whom you've had or have had an emotional charged interaction. This is an exercise in being able to see the interaction from another's point of view in dialogue with you. As with an actual dialogue, do as many rounds as you are able till you come to a possible mutual accord. Your mind may try to convince you that you have no clue what the other person is feeling or thinking. But actually, you do have many clues, because if you have an emotional charge with them, they are reflecting a part of you. So try the exercise to help you see the issue from more than just your one point of view. You may well solve some of your interpersonal issues within yourself that has immediate application to your outside relationship. I've seen this happen in many circumstances. In any case, it's a great exercise in getting out of one stuck point of view. Do as many rounds of communication as necessary to find a sense of mutual accord. In Handout 2, Section 2, Communication Clearing Exercise, complete A, the 4 steps of your imaginary conversation from your point of view, and B, the 4 steps of your imaginary conversation from the other person's point of view with whom you've had an emotional charge. Now, an emotional charge means there's some uncommunicated anger, fear, sadness, or gladness toward them that you're holding. The 4 steps are: Step 1, say what the other party said they were feeling, or if they did not say it overtly, what it looks to you like they're feeling. I hear you say you're feeling mad, sad, glad, scared, or it looks to me like you're feeling, or you seem to be feeling. Do not say you are feeling. Telling the other person what they're feeling is intrusive. Step 2, say what you are feeling without justification or explanations. I'm feeling mad, sad, glad, scared. State more than one feeling if you identify more than one. For example, I'm feeling scared and glad. Step 3, say simply what you want. What I want is, for example, what I want is I'd like to come to resolve around our differences of opinion regarding whatever it is. Or I want to get beyond my fear that you do not care about me. Step 4, say what you're willing to do to help bring this about. What I'm willing to do to help bring this about is, for example, I'm willing to hear your side of the issue and try to find a way we can both win. Or, I'm willing to help you clean up the yogurt you threw at me if you're willing to let me know what triggered this reaction in you and help me figure out a better way for us to communicate. Complete Handout 2 and come back to the video. Finally, it must be stated that even when both parties agree to use the model, if one or both are frozen in an emotional holding place, no model in the world may be effective in producing immediate resolution. as was made obvious to me in years of couples counseling. This is why we have deeper level trauma work at our disposal, like therapeutic breath work. Couples communication maintenance exercise. I also have another couples communication exercise I recommend for people to practice as a maintenance technique in keeping communications clear in longer-term relationships. This exercise is practiced with two parties sitting facing each other and staying in eye contact. Each partner takes 4 5-minute turns in alternating order, answering 3 prompts from their partner. The first prompt is, "Tell me something you think we agree on." Do not address them by name. The wording is very precise. It's not, "Tell me something we agree upon." That's conjecture and open to disagreement. But when I tell you something I think we agree upon, I'm again telling you my thoughts, not telling the truth of what you think. My job, the prompter, is to listen to whatever my partner says during their 5-minute period as their attempt to convey their thoughts and feelings to me without interruption. If I do have a different perception, which I think is important to communicate to them, I do that in my 5-minute next turn. After the partner answers the first prompt, I say thank you. I do not embellish or elaborate beyond that. Then I give a second prompt. Tell me something you like about me. Again, I receive whatever is said without any response other than thank you. I then give the third prompt. Tell me something you want me to know. Now, it's understood that this is about themselves or our relationship. It's not an invitation for them to tell me about me. They can say their reactions and feelings, but neither party engages in mind reading, that is, attempting to tell the other person what they think or feel. Saying what you think they think or feel is appropriate at times because it's still about you. If they wish to communicate about that, they'll wait till their turn. This is a major practice in respectful communication and emotional regulation. The first 2 prompts, tell me something you think we agree on, and tell me something you like about me, are meant to be door openers, just a few words or a sentence followed by thank you. The response, which simply indicates an acknowledgement of their compliance with your prompt, not necessarily that you like or don't like their response. The third prompt is just given once. The partner continues to contemplate and respond to this prompt till the end of their 5-minute turn, which is usually signaled by a timer, at which time they stop talking, not run on, and you complete that cycle by saying thank you. And then they give you the same 3 prompts for your 5-minute turn until each of you has had 4 turns. It's recommended to use a timer to keep the periods even so that you're not continually looking at the clock to see how much time is remaining. When both parties engage in this exercise open-heartedly, a tremendous amount of clearing and rapport can be gained in a short period of time. Now, as with any exercise, it's not a magic formula, but requires the good faith of each party, which includes an agreement not to use the exercise for blaming or putting guilt on another person. It's for understanding through self-disclosure. This exercise is very powerful in maintenance of a loving relationship. I've known couples who have used it weekly with great results on an ongoing basis. I highly recommend it. And I have another use for it that does not require the physical presence or cooperation of another person, but can be just as powerful in its results. It entails a basic practice in seeing from another person's perspective, which we'll practice briefly now. Take handout 3, Couples Communication Maintenance Exercise, and complete Couples Communication Exercise on your own. Again, imagining responses from someone in your life. Complete section A from your perspective with a person in your life with whom you would like to deepen your relationship. And repeat section B from the perspective of that person, assuming that they are engaging with you also to improve the quality of your relationship with them. Repeat sections A and B as many times as needed till you sense a deeper appreciation for the perspective of both yourself and your partner. If you come to an impasse or get stuck, find out what needs to be forgiven in order to move forward. Complete handout 3 and come back to the video. Another powerful variation of this exercise is to use the same communication format with a partner or solo using this phrase instead of the 3 prompts in the couples communication maintenance exercise. Tell me something about yourself you feel has never been completely understood when doing this with a partner. Or, something about myself I feel has never been completely understood is when you're doing it solo. Given an open-hearted approach, you can release years of barriers in your heart to sharing love with yourself and others. I've done these maintenance communication exercises in community on a regular basis, often precipitously asking a partner with whom I felt some emotional stuckness and found amazing results. It was also an excellent exercise for community unity and bonding. I recommend picking a member of your present community with whom to do this exercise virtually if in person is prohibitive. It's perfectly okay to start with your partner or a person with whom you have a fairly good rapport. As you increase your self-trust and confidence, choose someone with whom you have more fear. Behind negative criticism is always some version of fear. Try the 4-part communication clearing exercise with yourself. For example, the critical part of yourself and the accepting part of yourself, when you seem to get stuck in some judgment. Also, try the couples communication maintenance exercise with the fearful and accepting parts of yourself. You may shorten the time in the exchanges when doing it alone with the parts of your inner community. Now, these may be the most important communication clearings that you do. Inner peace and integration is the solid ground for all other harmony and success. I send and receive blessings for our circle and all sentient beings till next class. Blessings in light and love.